welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here for the launch of the 2023 Organic Beauty and Wellbeing Market Report from the Soil Association. My name is Louise. I'm a presenter and a sustainability advocate, and I'm going to be leading the discussion today. And we will, at some point, no doubt, have those slides back up, so do not fear. And also, we will be sharing a link in that chat, so keep an eye out for it, where you can download the report if you have not done so already. So all the information will be on there too. But wonderful, it's so lovely to be here, and it's so lovely to have an hour with you now to talk about organic beauty and well-being in a little bit more detail. So just for those who perhaps are new to the report, I'm sure you're aware that this Organic and Beauty and Wellbeing Market Report from the Soil Association is the only report that looks at the certified organic market of cosmetics and personal care items in the UK in any detail. So that's why it's so important. So it's great to have you here, and thank you for doing that. Now, in the first part of today's session, I'm going to take you through some of those key statistics and trends which have come out of this year's report. Then I'm going to introduce you to our panel of guest speakers. We've got a bit of an all-star panel today, which is fantastic. Some really great speakers who I'll introduce you to as we work through. But they're going to delve into the details of the key trends and the report in more detail, and all those issues that are affecting the organic beauty and wellbeing industry. Following this, we will open up the floor to any questions that anyone might have. So you can submit a question at any time. If you can see down at the bottom of your screen there, there is an Ask a Question button. So if you click on that, you'll be able to ask a question in there. If you can't figure that out, stick it in the chat and we'll find it. Do not worry. But we'll have time at the end for questions and answers. So before we open up to our guest panels and our guest speakers, I just want to take you through a couple of those key figures, key trends that we have been seeing over the last year. So let's start off with this year in numbers then for 2022. So it was a really strong year, strong growth for certified organic beauty and wellbeing products here in the UK. Now, of course, no surprise to anyone when I say that there have been market challenges. And because of that, the double-digit growth that the market has seen over the past few years has slowed down. However, sales still grew by nearly 7% compared to 2021 figures, which is amazing. And the market is now worth £147.63 million, and that's only in the UK. So although, yes, it has slowed down, it actually has nearly doubled in the last 5 years from 2017. So I think that really sort of shows that there is a demand for this, of these products. Now, Cosmos does continue to be the largest worldwide standard for certified organic and natural cosmetics. And the number of products and ingredients that have now been certified to Cosmos has grown by 22% in 2022. So now there are 56,000 ingredients that have been certified. So we've got a lot to choose from, which is wonderful. So let's move on then to some key trends. Now, it really is clear that sustainability has remained a key concern for beauty and wellbeing shoppers in the UK. Information on sustainability is now 3 times more important to consumers than social proof or product reviews when buying these products. 9 out of 10 shoppers believe sustainability is an important consideration when buying beauty and wellbeing products. And actually 46% of the people surveyed said nature and animal welfare, including organic, is extremely important to them, which is great. Now, on top of this, third-party certification, like the Soil Association's Cosmos Organic, continues to be one of the most effective ways to push consumers to make a sustainable purchase. And actually, 41% of consumers stated that they would be encouraged to purchase a sustainable beauty or wellbeing product if it carried that recognizable third-party certification to back this up. Now, the second highest reason was on-pack information about sustainability. But actually, that was chosen by only 22% of respondents. So that certification was almost double as important. So it's great to hear that the Soil Association Cosmos Organic certification is really coming through. So what this shows then is consumers are becoming more savvy. They're coming savvier to greenwashing especially, and they're no longer taking what brands say about their products at that face value. And in an industry where products, I'm sure some of you know this stat, it's one that always amazes me, but products can be labeled as organic even if they just contain 1% of organic ingredients, which is astounding, which is why the Soil Association Cosmos Organic certification is so important and has never been more important while more and more companies jump on the back of greenwashing and the sustainability trend. So if we move on to some challenges then, I'm sure it will come as no surprise when I say that yes, 2022 has been a challenging year, not just in this market, but across the UK. Of course, we came out of the pandemic. It was the end of the pandemic, but then we merged into the war in Europe, and the certified organic beauty and well-being market was not immune to the effects of this. And because of it, there was a huge disruption to the supply chain. And another key challenge has been the cost of living crisis in the UK. 1 in 5 UK shoppers now said that they're worried about being able to afford skincare and personal care products. So yes, sales did grow for sort of overall, but some of those Soil Association certified businesses have reported a year-on-year sale decrease for 2022. And actually 67% of these brands pointed to inflation. 60% pointed to the cost of living crisis as a reason for this downturn. Now, another key reason identified by many was wholesalers, distributors, small health food retailers, which are all vital to many of our certified brands. They've actually gone into administration. Now, 67% of shoppers as well are saying that they might be put off from purchasing sustainable products due to the cost. So there is this concern that consumers are going to start opting for the cheaper, less environmentally friendly purchases in the beauty and well-being space. However, yes, there are some challenges, but of course with that come some wonderful opportunities as well for organic. So despite everything I've just said, this certified organic beauty and well-being market remains agile, and there are loads of opportunities for the year ahead. Sustainability, it's too embedded a concern to ignore, not just, again, in this market, but across all industries. And the Soil Association Organic certification answers directly to many customers' sustainability concerns. So Soil Association certified beauty and well-being brands overwhelmingly see their certification as a worthwhile investment, which is great. So out of those who were surveyed, 95% of the brands agreed that being Soil Association certified gives greater credibility to their sustainability claims. And 69% agree it has helped to boost their sales. Now, 79% of consumers state that they have doubts now about claims being made by brands concerning sustainability. So that just touches on the greenwashing that we spoke about and their social impact. So being Soil Association certified really does continue to set these brands apart. So as consumers look to save money, emphasizing the multi-use benefits as well has been a bit of a key trend and something that we see as an opportunity. For many of the certified organic personal care products, it's also sort of a great way that brands can offer a value proposition to their customers. So it's a new opportunity there. So formulas are now, or can be, unisex. They can be used by all members of the family, including children. So this eliminates the need for multiple product purchases, which helps both the consumers' wallets and the planet. So there's lots of opportunities there for us to expand and play a little bit within this market to hopefully help the consumers. So let's touch on high street and retail then. 2022 saw an expansion of the certified organic options available in British high street stores, which is great because it makes them more accessible. And a key priority for the Soil Association certification in 2023 is to build upon this established momentum and increase the retail listings of certified organic brands. So just to go through a couple for you, Myrtle and Maud, they've launched a range of Cosmos organic certified skincare for pregnant and postpartum women in over 400 Boots stores nationwide, which is great because it's offering a sustainable solution in this sector. And this is actually part of Boots' Be More initiative, which is aiming at promoting sustainable brands and which has included the retailer switching all of their cotton pads to organic cotton. So, small steps, but it's really starting to build up and we're seeing this impact. A new addition as well to the Soil Association Cosmos Organic Catalogue for 2023 is the Dr. Organic range, which is available in Holland and Barrett stores, sort of nationwide. Dr. Organic have released a Soil Association Cosmos Organic range of skincare and hair care products. This now makes them one of the largest Soil Association certified beauty brands. And before we move on to our update, I've got to mention Superdrug as well, one of our other massive stores on the high street. But what they've done is actually they've taken it online. So they've launched the marketplace online, and it's presented this real unique opportunity for many certified organic brands to be listed on their website. So it's great. So it's getting the audience, the consumers, really familiar with these products. So we're really hoping to expand the number of organic brands available to be purchased on Superdrug's marketplace by the end of this year and throughout this year. So really exciting spaces within the high street and retail there. So just before we welcome our first panelist, I just want to touch on a bit of an update for you. This is Cosmos Organic V4, our version 4. So after much consultation, wonderful to announce that the Cosmos Organic standard has been updated into version 4. So it now has stricter environmental and social criteria than the previous versions. So sulfated surfactants, emulsifiers are to be phased out of the certified products due to their negative effect on the environment. The list of ingredients that must be organic to go into a certified organic product, that's been extended, as we mentioned earlier. Palm oil and palm derivatives must be from an organic or a sustainable source. So, for example, certified by the Round Table on sustainable palm oil. 8 mineral organic ingredients have been removed. That does include copper due to the effect of their extraction on the environment. And finally, the use of endangered species for the harvesting of raw materials is to be prohibited. So, for example, the use of monkeys to harvest coconuts. So really great update there, and hopefully just protecting the environment even further. So that's our update then. Hopefully lots to get your head around there. All of this is in the market report, so please make sure you do download it and we will share that link. But I think it's time to get one of our speakers up. Very excited to have Annabelle Kindersley here. She's the co-owner of Neal's Yard Remedies, which is one of the Soil Association's longest standing and largest certified organic brands. Now, over the last year, or the past years, Annabelle has been leading sort of a coalition of over 90 brands and organisations, including the Soil Association, calling on the UK government to cut the use of hazardous pesticides in our farming system. Now, with 40% of insect species declining, a third being endangered, reversing these harmful farming practices is an absolute necessity to avoid, essentially an Armageddon ecologically. So I'm going to welcome Annabelle on our screens now. Hello, Annabelle. I know it just takes a minute for the cameras to pop on.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much for talking to us. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing some incredible work at the moment. I guess if we could kick off, would you mind sort of delving into a little bit more detail about the Save the Bees campaign in particular that you've been working on and sort of why that is so important?
Yes, well, so sort of reverse. It started in 2011, so over a decade ago, and we realised that there was some real damage being done to bees with this particular pesticide class called neonicotinoids. I mean, so devastating the effects that a single teaspoon of a neonicotinoid is enough to be a lethal dose to 1.25 billion bees, so pretty nasty. And so we wrote an open letter and we got a petition, and we went to Downing Street. We got 116,000 signatures, and we worked with we worked with Friends of the Earth on that campaigning, and we waited a long time. In fact, it was until 2018 when a full ban came in, when the UK followed the EU into a ban. So that was great, business as usual. I could just get on with my day job. But on the back of that, I mean, the reason that we did it, we decided that we would always stand by bees and support the environment. That's sort of heart of our business. So we decided we launched a Bee Lovely hand cream on that back in 2011, and we decided to put some of the proceeds of that product towards bee charities to sort of practice what we preach. So we've actually, for the last decade, we've raised about £300,000. To this day, we've now got a huge Bee Lovely range. And that is loved and cherished by families. And that range 3% has gone always to bee conservation, like Bees for Development, the Bumblebee Conservation Trust. So we've worked long time with that. Anyway, this year, 2022, suddenly, last year in 2022, I woke up one Saturday morning, I remember it very clearly, in March, and saw that the government had lifted the ban on neonics. That they often called neonics for short. And I was just shocked, actually. I just thought, no, at Neal's Yard, we always stand up for what we believe is right. So that Saturday morning, I got busy writing an open letter to Downing Street again, to the then Prime Minister. I rang up Greenpeace, I rang up the Friends of the Earth, I started properly grassroots campaigning. And this time I thought, you know what, maybe it's not enough. Maybe I need to get the business involved. I'll start to, so I literally, through customer services, I'm sure there's people listening here who remember, if I didn't have your own email, I literally went through cold calling, internet searching, stalking, however I could do to find people's emails and ask them if they wanted to join the campaign. So we called it Stand by Bees so that people didn't think it was a marketing activity, because it isn't. And we made it independent. But really, it was, it's what we've been campaigning for over a decade. So went to Downing Street, took a letter, British Beauty Council came, wasn't enough. Then I decided to, didn't think they were listening. So we had a bee symposium, that was great. We brought the beauty industry, the environmental organisations and farmers, because I really believe in solutions driving. That's what we can do as businesses. We can drive solutions. No point moaning about it. We've got to do something about it. So I thought action, we could do something. So I wanted to get farmers so that we could talk about the problems that they face, the support that they need, and what we need to do to transition farmers away from these harmful chemicals. And that's been an interesting journey. It's led me down a lot of routes. I've been obviously always supporting the Soil Association, but also nature-friendly farming and trying to get the majority of all farmers to, I mean, obviously the gold standard is organic farming. That's a no-brainer, really. So that's where we're at. I mean, it's not just the reason why it's so important is that 1 in 3 mouthfuls of food depend on pollinators. I mean, that's a massive statistics. Obviously, all of our businesses who are certainly certified organic, we rely on a healthy ecosystem. So none of us would have businesses as we do if we didn't care about our pollinators. So it affects every single one of us, really.
Yeah, and just sort of leading on from that, could you go into a little bit more detail about sort of why the certification, Soil Association organic certification for beauty and wellbeing products, how does it protect the bees and the wildlife?
Well, for a start, we've been early adopters of organic certification. We actually, back in 1991, we were the first health and beauty brand to be certified by the Soil Association. We were actually up there with trying to actually figure out how that certification was going to look like. So we've been, in fact, in the other room, I'm here at our eco factory in Dorset, and in the other room, I've invited all of our suppliers over. They're over, so we're discussing supplies and ingredients, supply chain, and this whole thing about how we found ingredients, you know, back in the day, and how certification was critical. So yeah, with Soil Association especially, I mean, it's critical. I mean, we chose them because, you know, we know that they've always been truly committed to the environment. 92% of our ingredients at Neal's Yard Remedies are certified organic, so we're really weighed in heavily with that. I mean, we know that organic farming is better for the environment. It's better for the environment. It's better for wildlife and people. We know that. And so that certification is a kind of gold standard. I mean, as far as wildlife, we know that if you're farming organically, I think the stat is that you've got like 50% more abundant plant, wildlife and birds on an organic farm. So we know that also for climate change, organic farming sequesters more carbon. So that's really important too. And let's talk about people. Pesticide Action Network recently said that 44% of farmers globally are affected by pesticide poisoning. So this, you know, this is another reason why we're so committed to organic certification from the Soil Association, because we know that we're protecting the whole ecosystem chain, and and you know, so that's, I mean, it's critical. And anyway, often people ask me, you know, maybe not within our lovely groups here, because we're all in it together, aren't we? But basically, often people say to me, well, what's that to me? What's happening to beauty? Why are you talking about farming? And I think until we stop disassociating ourselves from nature, until we stop thinking that, you know, it's nothing to do with it, we're never going to care about nature enough to protect it. And so I'm on a mission to try and get that message across. Probably haven't done it very well, but I'm trying. That, you know, that we need farmers. We need organic farms. We need better biodiversity in order to make the beautiful products that we rely on, so we can have a lovely indulgent bath and stuff. So I mean, it's that you know, we all depend on a really healthy ecosystem.
Yeah, it's really interesting sort of how you describe that link between actually the fundamentals of the environment and actually everything we do, not just beauty, not just food. And starting to link those two. We are seeing, and I've mentioned it at the start, but there is an increasing number of brands, we will not name any, where that greenwashing is coming across. And, you know, the stat that we mentioned earlier, you know, only 1% of organic, you can have only 1% of organic ingredients and still label yourself as organic in the beauty industry because it's not regulated. Why is this so damaging for a consumer, from a consumer point of view? Do you think we're waking up to it slightly, or is it still something that is actually going to cause us more harm before we turn it round?
I think it's look, we've been watching it all along, actually, the greenwashing thing. I think, you know what, it's all coming out now. I feel very positive because, you know, everyone's getting with the program. Everyone is understanding that we can't carry on using pesticides like that. We can't carry on the ingredients ruining our planet, the toxicity of it to our own body. You know, I think we're in a great place. We're getting in an increasingly better place, let's put it that way. And I think that's the wonderful thing. We've always, as we've said, stood by third-party certification. It's just, you can't mark your own homework, really. It's not enough to just, you know, I was talking to someone in the US yesterday and they were saying, oh my God, you're so clean. And I was like, well, we're certified. We're certified organic, and therefore it's independently audited. You know, you have that trust, that stamp of that Cosmos, Soil Association Cosmos stamp is a stamp of trust and authenticity, and I can always push people back, say, don't worry, don't ask me, go and just see what, you know, I wouldn't have been able to get that certification had I not you know, abided by the strict regulations that they have, which I'm thrilled about. I mean, you know, we helped develop them, and I I think that I was so encouraged to see what you've just done now about making them even stricter, and always pushing the bar, because we literally have to always evolve. We do as a business, you do as an organisation. I think it's great because you're looking also at packaging, making sure there's minimum, maximum recycle content. And I mean, the other thing that's a biggie is the issue of biodegrading. You're making sure your ingredients are biodegradable, and that's when it comes to microplastics. So back in 2016, we campaigned with Flora and Fauna International to ban the microbeads, and super exciting because we got a ban, but work is not done because it was only for wash-off products. I had a nice chat with the Plastic Soup Foundation this morning in Amsterdam, and we were talking about microplastics and microbeads and how insidious the microplastic situation has become. And so I think tomorrow she said that they're talking to EU ministers about what their decision might be, because we've joined an open letter, even though we're not in the EU, but we've joined a letter to call on that to be looked at, because I read something terrible, which is 87% of the products from 10 best-selling cosmetic brands in Europe contain microplastics. So, I won't stop campaigning about bees, because I still feel that without bees we're going to be in a very, very sorry state with no food and nothing beautiful to look at. Let's face it. Health, but I guess the big issue of microplastics is massive, and thank God that the Soil Association are over that too. Cosmos, it's you wouldn't be allowed to use it, so that's another further guarantee. So it's really a no-brainer to be certified, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, brilliant. Yes, and we'll keep spreading the word. That's what we need to do, keep spreading it. So thank you. I might just
say whilst I'm on here, please, any brands and businesses who haven't haven't signed the campaign or wants their logo on the campaign and wants to be part of it, please. It's an open door, and we love you all, and we all need to do it together, because what you've shown, I think what I've also been super encouraged about, is that collaboration is the way forward. It's less about competition. If we are literally going to save the world, we've got to work together, and it's so lovely to be on this panel and be with all of you, and I keep seeing everyone's messages popping up, so please just do get in touch with me.
Yeah, that was literally my next question. How do we get involved? There we are, answered. So yes, if you do have any questions, get in touch with Annabelle. In fact, at the end, we're going to bring you back up on screen, Annabelle. And if anyone does have any questions, we can ask you.
Lovely, thank you.
But thank you so much for chatting to us. I could talk to you for hours, but we do have to welcome our next speaker. So thank you, Annabelle. I will see you in a little bit for questions. So move on to our second speaker today, which is Dr. Pauline Hilly, who is a chartered chemist, a biochemist and cosmetic formulator, and the founder of the skincare brand Nourish London. So they are, of course, Soil Association certified. They combine organic ingredients with the principles of green chemistry to deliver effective products, which is amazing. And I'm going to talk to you about this word in a minute, because it's a new word to me, but apparently consumers are becoming more something called skintellectuals, which is amazing, which is where we're demanding scientific proof. So Pauline, you're here to talk to us a little bit more about this. So welcome, Pauline. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us, especially as I know you're in Australia right now.
Yes, hello from Sydney, everybody. It's really, really nice to be part of the panel. Very nice to hear Annabelle. And Annabelle, I know very well those first certified products, because I remember dearly in 1991 the development of those standards and formulating those products, really. So yes, it's exciting to be here. I am from phoning in from Sydney, so it's I think we're heading into midnight this side.
Oh, well, at least you can go and enjoy some sunshine afterwards. So well in the morning, not afterwards.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So I guess let's start off then. There's sort of this myth that organic ingredients in skincare won't be as effective as those that have been produced artificially. You hear that a lot of the time. Oh, natural products won't do the same. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, and if there is any sort of truth within that?
Yeah, I think it is a bit of a myth in my experience. And I've been involved in a number of research projects where I've looked at a number of ingredients. And from my point of view, I think that organic ingredients really do offer a tremendous advantage in that they have been through a screening mechanism via the Soil Association. So it's not only what they do contain that's very positive, for example, for the skin, but also what they don't contain. So the absence of certain pesticides, the absence of certain heavy metals can be guaranteed when, for example, you're using an organic emollient. And the active ingredients, when you're looking at, from my point of view, again, a lot of the active ingredients that we use in skincare and really have their origins in plant-based ingredients. And again, because those, if you're using organic versions of those ingredients, you can really, really guarantee that the quality gives you the same effectiveness, but without that worry about what else might be contained within that ingredient. So I'm a really, really big supporter of organic ingredients in skincare, and also things like vitamin E, for example. A lot of the active ingredients that we can use do have plant origins. So I think that plant-based ingredients are extremely effective in skincare.
Yeah, and actually, like you were saying, the positives from not having a lot of those other chemicals inside it actually must outweigh anything else that people, the arguments that people have. So there are some really popular active ingredients at the moment: vitamin C, retinols. Can we find them within organic ingredients? I know you just touched on that a little bit, saying that they do generally come from organic, but if we see that those labels attached to organic products, can we trust that?
I think that one of the things that we're seeing increasingly is, I think the idea of skintellectual is true, both in the supply chain, and I think the world's getting much smarter. People are much smarter in terms of and chemical processes and the way that we process raw materials and feedstocks has really, really clever. So, for example, certain conversions that used to only be available chemically, you can now do using microorganisms. Wow. So I think that the options for the future, and I'm a real supporter of young people in STEM. I'm a big science geek. I think science can really pave the way forward, and I think that there's a really huge opportunity to take traditionally, perhaps traditional processes and apply new techniques, biofermentation techniques, etc., to produce cleaner, greener, and more high-tech ingredients.
Amazing. And I think I'm going to keep saying the word because I'm obsessed with it now, but the whole skintellectuals, I think the stat on it now is sort of 1 in 3 consumers say that they do research the effectiveness of individual ingredients now. So you're right, there is this sort of wave of people who perhaps are a little bit more savvy to what's going on. So does the science, and I suppose, you know, what you do as well with Nourish, are you seeing a bit of an uptake from consumers asking these questions?
I'm constantly being asked questions about the effectiveness of products. I'm constantly being asked questions about the origins of materials and how things work. So I think, and I think it's fantastic, because I think the skin is a great meter for human health. You can tell a lot by the way the skin appears. You can tell a lot about what products have been applied to the skin. The skin is a really, really good measure for how healthy we can be. Yeah. And so I think that, and I think that historically, I think that a lot of people felt that the skin was sort of a little bit inert, that it didn't really do much. But I think people are waking up more and more. It's a great meter for human health. I'd love to see much more scientific research about how it can be an early indicator for human health, and how various products affect the skin. So I think it's the skin selects, and now I can't say the word. I've got tongue tied. Yeah. So the skin intellectuals really do help push the boundaries. And also, for me, I think going back to what Annabelle was speaking about, I think collaboration and consumer pressure are fantastic tools for getting action to happen. When I first started in the industry a long time ago now, the most widely used preservatives in the UK were the parabens. You know, it was through consumer pressure that things have changed, and what consumers demand in their products has changed. So I think it's good to have a voice. It's good to have it's good to understand how things work and the impact that they can have on your skin or on your health, and you know, join forces to demand more from your skincare companies.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned this. It's something that I see a lot and certainly hear a lot from people. It's that, oh, well, I can't do anything as an individual, so it's someone else's problem. But actually, are you saying that you've seen a trend of where actually that pressure coming from individuals actually makes the change? So is this something we need to really push for?
Yes, it is. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen that throughout my entire career, actually. I think the consumer's got a much more stronger voice and than perhaps they think. And you know, the really important thing is that you can vote with what you purchase, and that's why the Soil Association and looking for that logo and supporting with how you consume the goods that you apply to your skin is really important. It's very powerful.
Amazing. Yeah, so let's keep fighting, keep getting involved, and spend your money where we should be. With that in mind, then, how can certified organic brands best sort of get across that their products are effective and have been backed up sort of scientifically?
As a scientist, I'm really a huge supporter of doing the testing. You know, whether it's a small claim, whether it's a large claim, it's really important that you produce reproducible results, that you test products diligently, that you use, I think Annabelle touched on the use of independent testing across all of our range. At Nourish, we develop the products, we then have them tested independently, understanding the consumer trials, but also understanding the metric testing, that the measure testing that you can do with the product. I think they're very important, and I think allowing those, certainly in some of the research work that I've done, we've made that quite open source so people could see some of the results that we've had. And I think it's really, it's very much about, I think that if you want to show the effectiveness of your products, I think decide what testing regime you're going to use, and actually have that tested independently. I think it's really important. As a scientist, for me, I think you also actually, it's really good, just good practice for your own business, because what you actually want to be doing, if you produce a consumer product, really the consumer is your boss, and what you want to be doing is delivering to them a reproducible result. So the best way to do that is to apply really good scientific thinking to how you produce and manufacture your product.
Amazing. Yeah, great. Thank you so much for explaining that in a bit more detail. That transparency sounds like it's really key. Great. All right, Pauline, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. We're going to bring you back on in 10 minutes or so after we've spoken to our final panelists, just to answer any questions that we might have. So keep those questions coming in, and Pauline will be back with us in just a minute. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you, everybody. Please feel free.
Brilliant. Amazing. It's so interesting when we start mixing up the what's happening out in the farms, mixing it with science. And now we're going to mix it with technology, which is really interesting. Our final guest speaker is Colombine Taranti, who is a customer success manager at Provenance. Now, Provenance is a global leader in sustainability marketing technology for brands. And they back up product claims by showing verified proof points to consumers, depending on what certifications a brand has achieved for a product, such as the the Soil Association certification. So Colin B, this is amazing. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Louise, and hello everyone on the line. It's really great to be connecting with you all today, and I've personally felt really inspired by our speakers so far. So yeah, thank you for having me on this panel today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you. I think you're right. Yes, it is. It's very uplifting when you start to hear all the great work that's being done. But talking of great work, I mean, what you're doing at Provenance is really starting to open up this market a bit more to consumers and making it a little bit more simple for them, which is amazing. So I guess kicking things off, could you just tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and how it works?
Yeah, sure. So as you already kind of introduced, Provenance, we're really a sustainability marketing technology company. So we use technology, including the blockchain technology, for example, to really connect what brands and retailers are saying about their impact on impact on people and impact on planet, to actual proof and actual evidence of what they are doing. And then we make that information visible to shoppers to ultimately enable them, empower them to make purchases decisions that are informed, that are in line with the values, and that they can really feel confident about. So I guess where the solution and the company really came from. I think you've shared quite a lot of quite a few really impactful stats already at the beginning with on. And I'm sure that a lot of us are very much aware of this. But yeah, sustainability credentials, social impact credentials and claims are very much becoming a demand from consumers. And any brand that doesn't really act today is absolutely at risk of losing market share and losing relevance in the near future. But then at the same time, we are seeing higher levels of distrust from customers, from shoppers. And again, you shared before a really striking stat of, I think, 79% of shoppers in beauty who aren't really sure whether they can actually trust the information that's provided by brands in the industry. And we're seeing more and more stories around of greenwashing that are coming up, especially as regulators as well are watching more closely. So yeah, very much of a context of distrust, and that's where obviously certifications like the Soil Association and third-party verifiers are critical. But really, that context is very much of a threat for the industry, but also just a shame for all the brands that are doing great things, to know that their message and what they are sharing might not be trusted by shoppers in the end. So at Provenance, that's kind of what we're trying to solve. We really want to help brands avoid risks of greenwashing, while at the same time helping them build that trust with the shoppers, and making their efforts and their achievements in sustainability, in social impact more visible, but always in a fact-checked manner. That's really important for us. Now, that's kind of who we are. Now, what we do very concretely, we work with brands and retailers to help them surface social and environmental impact claims and related information at the point of sale, which is really the moment in the journey where a shopper or consumer is actually making a purchase decision, obviously. So really critical moments. And that means that as a shopper, if you are browsing a website that has implemented the solution, you will be able to view and click on little interactive claims, the proof points, on product pages. And so those claims could be Cosmos Organic with Soil Association, could be recyclable packaging, carbon measured. So really a breadth of types of claims that we're able to support. And as a shopper, again, once you click on that little claim, that little proof point, there's a little pop-up that shows up, and where you can find a little bit more information that we always try and make as shopper friendly, jargon free as possible, that provide a bit more context on what concretely that means, what's behind the claim, and very importantly, as a shopper yourself, you are able to view the evidence, view the proof that has been provided by the brand in order to make that claim. So yeah, really practically, brands start working with us by selecting those claims, selecting those proof points that they want to use from our framework, which is an open source sort of library of claims that anyone can access today. And then they will provide the evidence, upload it to our platform. We will review their evidence with our integrity team, and then publish the proof points across our network of retailers, as well as the websites of the brands that have decided to implement the solution on their websites as well. So yeah, really for brands, it's a matter of building brand trust, building brand sentiment, growing the loyalty as well with their shoppers, with their customers, and for retailers that work with us. For retailers, it's really hard to gather, maintain, ensure the validity of sustainability claims across thousands of products. So we kind of do that work for them. And then they can also utilize this to build things like sustainability edits or other types of marketing initiatives that we've seen to be driving conversion as well. That's in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell. I think there is such a gap in the market for this, and just speaking from people who I've met throughout my career or just in normal life, the amount of times that people spend researching or going, I don't have time to research. I've spent hours scrolling through websites, and this is actually finding a solution. So that doesn't need to happen. It's just there right in front of you. I've got to ask, I'm very aware of the time, but I've got to ask, just for anyone who doesn't know, what does blockchain mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I won't go into technical details, obviously, but really think of the blockchain as a database, essentially. And as any database, it has a lot of information, but the specificity is that anyone on the blockchain actually owns a copy of that database. So not one party on the blockchain can make a change to the information, to the records that are stored without sort of alerting the whole network. So yeah, at Provenance, we store a certain type of proof of impact on the blockchain. Again, I won't go into a lot of details, but really we use it because it's a system that is very open, that is permanent. Again, can't be the information can't be changed, can't be tampered with, and it is decentralized. So it's not just Provenance even kind of storing that data, that piece of information, that proof, let alone just a retailer or a brand. And to us, that's what allows us to provide that higher, next level transparency, which will then help create that greater level of trust between brands and shoppers.
Amazing. Yeah, brilliant. So just a very sort of last question for you then we're going to get everyone back up on the screen and answer any questions. But how do services like Provenance offer a particular advantage to brands that have already been certified, as Cosmos Organic with the Soil Association? Yeah,
sure. So I would say, and from working with a lot of certified brands, that utilizing the proof points of provenance technology is really a way to sort of elevate the investment that you've been making into getting certified in the first place, because that technology allows you to educate your shoppers, very importantly, without leaving the product page, but really share more about what concretely means, the work that went behind it, and very importantly, the depth of impact that is kind of entailed by those certifications. And then it's also a way to I would say, showcase your impact in a holistic manner, because you are providing pretty much the same level of information and reassurance on impact areas that you have covered by certifications, as well as other areas that you have not covered yet by certifications, or maybe certifications aren't available, but you have been able to provide evidence for. So things around packaging recyclability, for example, or your investment with or involvement with charities. So really providing that holistic view of your impact, and always without leaving the product page.
Amazing. So yeah, it offers that 360 view of what's going on, rather than just that individual. I love that so much. I think this is really going to be a game changer for the market, and I really hope for consumers as well, make it a little bit easier. Colin, thank you so much. Now, I'm going to, you stay where you are. We're going to invite Annabelle and Pauline back up on the screen as well. And while you do that, I'm going to check out what questions we've had, because I've seen a couple come through. Okay, let's have a little look. So I'm going to start with a nice, easy one just for Colin, because it's about provenance. And this is from Max, who says, this sounds brilliant. Which retailers and websites have implemented provenance so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're really working on growing the network as we speak, quite literally. At the moment in the UK, we are live on Cold Beauty, Naturissimo, and A Little Find. And then we have a number of brands that have implemented the solution on their own website as well, like Pi Skincare, Tropic Skincare, who are both also certified with the Solar Association. If I can just give a couple of examples.
Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, it's great that it's already working for people, which is fantastic. Lovely. So that was a nice, easy one to tick off. I'll do another easy one. This one's for Annabelle. How do we contact you? That's again.
akindersley@nealsyardremedies.com. Follow me on Standby Bees, Instagram, Annabelle Kindersley _ anyway, I'm always available. So yeah.
Right. Literally put you into Google, and I should imagine you'll pop up with contact details. Yeah, make it nice and easy. Lovely. Okay, let's move up then. And actually, this one's from Sarah. Is there much conversation and action around a circular economy when it comes to skincare? So I don't mind who answers this. I don't know whether Pauline wants to jump in, or Annabelle's probably.
I've got little bits to say in there, but Pauline's always so much more experienced than any of me. I defer to her for all things formulation, ingredients. She's amazing, and it's so lovely to be. Even though she's in Australia, it's lovely to see you, Pauline. Lots of love, and by the way, amazing provenance, the work that you're doing. So yeah, I guess it's time has come, hasn't it? It's not enough to just make a product and not care about what happens either before or after. We have to take the whole responsibility for all of it. So we're all working hard. I mean, our eco factory we built a long time ago, 700 square meters of solar panels, so renewable energy, recycling water, all that stuff. But it's the end life, it's the ingredients, making sure that your ingredients don't have microplastics in them because they're going to not degrade. It's about the impact on the ingredients that you buy and the supply chain that you're buying from, to ensure that you're not impacting the communities, actually the integrity of the plants, the vulnerability of plants in terms of that's true sustainability piece, and the communities that you work with, the impact that you have on that. So there's the before, the middle of the making, and then there's the after, the packaging that you use. We did a bit of recycling. We use PCR plastic, but mostly us for glass. But that's not enough. It's got to be more recycled. We've got our work cut out, but it's brilliant, isn't it? And I think the Sustainable Beauty Coalition, I would just not give a nod to them, because working together with that, always pushing the boundaries. Someone asked, is that conversation going on? I'm sure it's in everyone's meeting room all the time. So yeah, we're all on it. We've got so much work to do, haven't we?
I just would also like to say, I think a circular economy should be at the heart of any sustainable sustainability, if you like. That is the functionality that should sit around it. And I also just want to a shorthand around blockchain for anyone who's listening. For me, that I think that it's like a fingerprint, and why it's so revolutionary for us in the organic sector, because I think one of the concerns that as economic situation gets harder, that there's absolutely much more opportunity for fraudulence, particularly around high value raw materials. And so actually the blockchain is almost like a fingerprint for where you can tell you which farm it's come from, where it's moved around the globe. And so it took me a long time to work out myself how blockchain could affect our industry, but I do think it will really, really change it. So I just thought if anyone out there wanted to, a shortcut explanation, that's my understanding of how I found understanding on it. But I do think that it could revolutionise the whole organic sector as well.
Yeah, great. No, absolutely. I didn't know, Colin Bean, if you wanted to add anything. I know it's slightly different to your technology, but I'm sure it's been in your conversations as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's actually other industries starting in food where we've started exploring kind of deeper transparency use cases with the blockchain. And we're actually working with a tuna brand at the moment where they have full traceability on the tuna. And we're able to kind of trace and provide that visibility of the full transparency of the tuna from where it's been fished until the can, basically. So that's the kind of things that as we go, I'm sure we will have more and more capability to really implement, including in industries where products are maybe more complex and supply chains are more complex, typically in the beauty industry. But again, that is, I completely agree, absolute need, and a technology like blockchain can absolutely provide the answers for this challenge.
Amazing. I'm very aware.
I'm sorry. I was just also going to say we talk about a circular economy from a product point of view, but I would also like to see something whereby companies need to invest in the countries where their money's coming from as well. I'd love to see us, in terms of the circular economy, raise up all the communities that support us. And so I think there's a whole plethora of things that can be done around, what a circular economy could mean.
Yeah, wonderful. That's a really interesting way of looking at it as well. Yeah, lots to be done, but exciting opportunities as well. There's lots that can be explored. I'm very aware of the time, and we are slightly running over. But these last two questions are actually super easy, and actually it's just something I can very quickly say. From Nick, I'd love to receive a copy of the presentation from today. Will that be shared? Yes, it will. It's going to be emailed to you after we finish today, so you'll get a copy of that. And then from Suzanne as well, I might have missed it as I dropped out, but can you clarify who the consumers are that we spoke to? Are they a general group or already organic natural shoppers? I believe it was a general group, but all of that detail is in the market report, which you can download from the link in the chat. I will get clarification on that as well and make sure that that's included in the emails to you as well. And then last but not least, last little conversation that I just love to have before we finish off. This is from Sarah as well, saying we found that TikTok has had a big part to play in education when it comes to, I think this was probably on your talk there, Pauline, when it comes to chemical ingredients and their uses. Brands need to find an effective voice to explain all of this and the advantages of things like provenance and what chemicals. I guess this is the same for the Save the Bee campaign. Are you seeing that social media is having a bit more of an impact when it comes to this, when it comes to spreading the word? I don't mind.
Yeah, I think social media has a great role to play in this. I think for me as a scientist, I always get frustrated when the facts aren't right, or they're a little bit misleading to the consumer. And so I think one needs to make sure that there's authority, and I guess provenance would have a role to play in some of that as well. Actually, I could envisage that happening on a longer term But I think, yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think the bloggers and the podcasters who do the really have some of the hard work to understand these ingredients or these products are really great at helping to switch on people's consciousness. Sorry, Annabelle, over to you.
No, I think I think you're right. Social media's got a massive part to play, and I mean, we're seeing it ourselves in our own brand in the Be campaign. Yes, definitely. Well, to be able to communicate, to spread the message, for sure. I mean, I'm not on TikTok.
I'm sure Instagram and all that side of things.
But I do think the idea of what Provenance does and the whole chemical talking all about ingredients in such detail, and the question that your person asked, I think is absolutely, if we could have more informative social media, that you could perhaps do, Colin Bean, no pressure. But yeah, but I think, it's also grouping us all together so that we're not alone, which is, I think, really fundamental in this, because we all have to do it together to make a difference.
Completely agree with this. I was just gonna add an example of a campaign on TikTok that I found quite interesting on that context was by Neutrogena. I think it's called Skin Days, and they're kind of asked their community, Gen Z mostly, to ask questions that dermatologists were then answering on TikTok. So they really try to position their brand as very scientifically driven and kind of going into the details of the science, while making it obviously accessible for Gen Z, for non-scientific audiences, so that it's an interesting one to look at.
Nice. Yeah, and I think we can only imagine that that's going to keep growing as social media does. It doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, does it? Now, listen, we as much as I would love to sit here and talk to you all day, I do know that Pauline needs to get to bed because it is beyond midnight for where she is, and that everyone else has got such important work to go and do. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Been fascinating. As I said, everyone else joining, thank you. You can download the market report from the link that has just been shared. You can keep up to date with all the upcoming events from the Soil Association. We've just shared a link with you as well. And you will get a copy of this presentation. It'll be sent across to you afterwards as well. But keep in touch, keep spreading the message. And yes, we can do this. And wonderful. Thank you so much to our wonderful panel. And thank you for everyone joining us. And we hope to see you at another session soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. I'm not sure how